Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
Horacio Garcia.
And today I'm at Scialo Brothers Bakery here in Providence, Rhode Island, where we're making a classic, Torrone. That's it, real fast, real fast. Come on, get that baseball arm moving.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Non c'è ketchup.
No. Già vedi, ti fa la foto.
Basta?
Sì.
Sono molto delicati.
Molto delicato. Grazie a lei.
Grazie Marianne, grazie a voi.
You know, my mother's favorite leftover sandwich. Come on, you're Italian. Isn't this beautiful? Look at how pretty this is. It's delicious. How do you like that? I think you're great. And now we're ready to do the twist. So, looks gorgeous, smells wonderful.
I use my hands.
I love this woman. Okay. Scialo Brothers Bakery in Providence, Rhode Island is the place to go for one of Italy's most famous treats, Torrone. Lois Ellis and Carol Gaeta are sisters who took over the business from their father and continue his legacy to this day. Carol and Lois, this tradition of making Torrone has been in your family for how long?
Oh, since 1916. My dad first came here. He was making candy. He used to make a lot of different candy, but this is the one that's been carried on through the years.
So every season at Christmas time, this is
Yes.
the only time that you make the Torrone. Because, you know, I remember as a kid for the Feast of St. Nicholas, do you remember hanging your stocking?
Right.
And then the night before you went to bed and the next morning you got up and in your stocking were the little toroncini, the little
Yes,
boxes
exactly.
of
Right.
Torrone.
Wrapped in paper.
An
yeah.
orange and a quarter. And that was getting you ready for Christmas. And I remember how intrigued I was by the designs on the boxes. And then if you turned the box over, you could see there were orange flavored
Yeah.
Torrone, there was vanilla flavored, and there was the Torrone that had pistachio nuts.
Right.
So it's really been a tradition to get this kind of treat every holiday season. But it takes a lot of work to make it, doesn't
It's
it?
very time consuming, yeah. One of the older bakers, well, he passed away around 4 or 5 years ago. He taught Horacio how to make it, and that's when we became involved in the whole process, watching how it was made, how he taught Horacio, et cetera.
And we
Correct?
should also say that this is so rich
Yes.
that you can only eat a little bit of it at a time,
Right,
right?
yes.
It's very rich, and it would be something that you would have like after a special meal.
Right, yeah.
Or you gave it as a gift
Right.
at holiday time.
Exactly. People come here just to buy it, to give
Just
as
to
gifts.
get that. You think Horacio's ready?
Oh, I'm sure he's just very anxious to get started.
Okay, well, I'm going to grab him, and I know you have things to do down
Yes,
in the
we
bakery.
do.
So we'll
All
see you
right.
later.
Very good.
Hi, Horacio. How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Good, and you know what? Today is going to be a real treat for me because I am going to learn from the master how to make real Torrone. So why don't you tell me how you start? Because I always think of this as a nougat, you know, a nougat candy.
We start with the sugar.
All right, now how much sugar are you adding?
10 pounds of sugar.
All right, this would be a little bit more than I would do in my kitchen, but 10 pounds of just granulated
Sugar and egg whites. We're going to put about 3/4 of a quart in there.
This is over a quart of egg whites?
Yeah, this is exactly 1 quart.
Okay.
And we save a little for the
For
second
later.
stage.
All right, so this is almost like making a meringue.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah,
almost.
okay.
Now I'm going to turn the mixer on.
Yeah?
That stays on. Now we're going to get the honey on the stove.
Well, how long do you mix this?
It could be mixing for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now the time is the honey in the stove.
Okay, so we have to get honey now to add
Yes.
to this, okay?
Now we're going, this is pure honey.
All right. Wow. So how much honey now will you add?
20 pounds. As soon as the scale bounces up. Oh,
That's it?
no.
No, okay.
No. I forgot.
You need one thing. You need to put your scale on.
Yes.
Okay, that's important. Now, I think you're going to get the idea here that this is a very sweet tasting confection because you've got the sugar and now this clover honey, which is also going to be added to the mix. Now, you have to use a special kind of honey, don't you?
Yes,
when you
it's
make-
a honey Comes from Argentina. It's a select blend of honey from Argentina, USA, and other countries. And I got my 20 pounds of honey in there.
Okay.
I'm going to add 10 pounds of sugar.
Whoa, more sugar.
It's very sweet.
Yes, I can see that. Okay.
Now from here, it's going to go on the kidney stove.
All right, so you have to heat this now.
Yes, to a boil.
All right, so let's put it on the stove. This is the most beautiful copper pot I have ever seen. All right, so now, what do we do?
I'm going to bring this to a boil, turn the stove up high, and I'm going to mix it. And it's going to take roughly 20-25 minutes to boil. Once this is boiled, we're going to add it into the egg whites and sugar in the mixer.
Okay.
And it's going to mix for an hour and 35 minutes.
And you don't use a candy thermometer here to,
No.
to get to the right temperature?
No,
you don't
they-
need it, because you know in your head, you've made this so many times, right?
Exactly.
What's the important thing here about
The most
mixing?
important thing about mixing the honey is once it boils, we call you keep your eyes on the clock 4 minutes, no less, no more. Because if it goes past 4 minutes, the honey comes out a little brownish.
Right, you don't want that in
You
the
don't want
Torrone.
that. You want a nice clear look. And as soon as it starts boiling, I shut the stove, we'll call half off, and just let it boil for 4 minutes.
And you don't need to stir continually?
No, once in a while I'll stir, that's it.
Okay.
Because once the honey starts boiling, it melts the sugar down, and everything is like liquid.
Okay, good.
So,
So, Horacio, did you learn to make the Torrone here in the bakery?
yes, I never seen Torrone until I started working here.
Before,
yes,
so how did you get into baking then?
For my father, all my family was in baking, and I've been inside of a bakery since I was 9 years old. That's all I did all my life.
It's kind of a fun job, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's fun. And I love working here. I love my bosses. My bosses are real nice people.
Ooh, I hope they're listening.
And they makes things a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, what's your favorite thing to make in the bakery? What do you like to
I like wedding cakes. I enjoy decorating wedding cakes. And doing like the old-fashioned Italian desserts that they used to make here. That was passed down, and I learned from the old timer that was
like the old Neapolitan rice pie?
Exactly.
The pastiera. And I can see that this is now starting to really take on a nice color. It's very rich looking.
Right.
And the honey smells beautiful. Did we mention that this is clover honey, right?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
pure clover honey.
And I'm going to be doing this for 20 minutes.
No, actually, you don't have to keep us.
Oh, I can stop. Okay.
Yeah, you can stop.
All right.
We stir like once in a little while, just to bring the honey and the bottom up, and the sugar that's on the top, to the bottom.
And this is now the traditional way of doing it. You wouldn't add any other flavor to this,
No,
would you?
no flavor whatsoever. Only at the end we put a little vanilla powder and a couple drops of cinnamon oil. That's the only flavor goes into the Torrone. They've been doing it since 1916 like that.
And that's the traditional recipe.
Yes.
You don't want to change it. Okay, well, I gave my arms a workout. Why don't you do
All
so?
right.
Okay. Wow. Okay, Horacio, so now we have that hot honey and
yeah.
sugar mixture in with the original sugar and the egg whites. Now, how long are you going to beat this up?
I'm gonna beat it up 35 minutes at third speed. It's gonna kind of splash, so you have to
Gotta stand
get back a little.
Okay.
Okay.
It almost looks like taffy at this point.
As it mixes, you'll see the consistency will get stiffer and stiffer.
Yes.
Now I gotta get my clock.
so this is 35 minutes now?
35 minutes over there, Mary Ann, until the clock goes up.
Okay. 35
And-
minutes, and then what will we do?
At this time now, we go set up the boxes with the paper, with the liner.
Okay.
Once we call this, the time we call rings, I'm going to add the rest of the egg whites to the mixer, and I'll put in second speed for a whole hour.
All right. This isn't over yet. Okay, so we should line the boxes?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Now, first
line
of all,
up?
tell me about these boxes.
Well, these boxes, the way here, when I started working here, they made these boxes, I would say back in the 20s. And we've been using them, and that's the tradition. It's like a cement mold.
All right, this is the form now that we're going to be putting that nougat mixture
Exactly.
into. But first you tell me you have to get them
I
prepared.
line them up with parchment paper first.
Okay. Parchment paper to fit.
Yeah, so the candy doesn't touch the wood.
And it doesn't stick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And after we line up the potato paper.
All right, let's talk about this though. Let's tell everybody. This is what Horacio is lining the form with. This is potato starch, but sometimes you can buy
We call it wafer paper.
Wafer paper,
Yes.
rice paper, and this is edible. This is going to be what you
Eaten.
pour the
Exactly,
nougat
candy.
over.
Exactly.
All right, so I always remember this when I was a kid because whenever I got the little Torrone in the
Yeah.
boxes, the Torroncini, I would think
Well,
of this as Holy Communion
There you go.
wafer. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we have to put that in.
And,
All right,
how-
so I'll do one here.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Our first step is to line the boxes with a parchment paper.
all right, and each one of these forms holds how
10
much?
pounds.
10 pounds. Okay. So we're going to do all of these today. We're going to have 80 pounds of
Ta-da.
Torrone. Cut. Okay. Now you can see why this is expensive to buy because it
It's
is
a lot of
really
work.
it's labor intensive to
Lot of
do
labor.
this. Meanwhile, our Torrone mixture, you can probably hear it back there, is starting to get really taffy-like in its consistency. Okay. I don't know if we can reach that one. All right, now,
We start with a wafer paper.
okay, just put it in the bottom.
Yes, I got all cut up
All
in
right.
sections.
So you
That
have
goes-
to overlap these
Yes,
pieces,
and
right?
a half goes over here.
Okay, so another one here. Okay, and a half goes here.
No, actually,
Oh, that one
we-
has
yeah,
it.
we did
That one
already.
has it, yeah, okay. This goes here. This goes here. And I need another one of these. This is fun, actually, making this nougat. I mean, I've always eaten it, but I've never really seen the process of making it. Okay,
Now we're gonna do the sides.
All
It's
right.
2 long and 4 small ones for each box.
2 long and 4 small
Small
ones.
ones.
Okay, now these just go around?
Yes, and you gotta wet them in a sponge, otherwise they won't stick.
Okay,
Okay.
just the ends. So you have to wet the ends so they stick together.
Exactly.
Okay. And this one. Stick. How am I doing?
You're doing good.
Okay.
You're natural.
I think I need one more big piece on this side.
There you go, right here.
Okay, you got it? And
There's up against there.
here's a short one. Okay, now this is really important because this is going to surround the
candy,
nougat.
yes.
Now, do you know the Italian story about Torrone? Do you know why it's called
No idea.
Torrone?
I have
Well,
no idea.
the story goes, and I'm going to tell you the story too, that in the 15th century, in a town called Cremona in northern Italy, which is actually in the region of Lombardia, a very influential man's daughter was getting married. And she was marrying into the Sforza family, which was a very powerful ruling family. So in order to commemorate this wedding, he told his bakers that he wanted them to recreate the tower in the town. And the tower was called Torrone, meaning tower, big tower. So the bakers went to work and they combined egg whites, almonds, sugar, and recreated the tower of the town of Cremona, and that's how Torrone got its name. So now I taught you something today.
Yes, you did.
All right. So
All the years I've been doing this, I never know where the name came from.
Well, now you know. All right, so we still need to fill the rest of these forms. Now, sometimes when you buy Torrone already prepared, you can also get it with other flavors as well. Orange flavor is one.
And this
sometimes
is
chocolate. What is that?
cinnamon oil.
Oh, a little cinnamon oil. Sounds good.
It's pure cinnamon oil.
And you just a drop for all of this mixture, so that must be pretty intense.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to ask you why you heat the almonds. I know they bring out a better flavor, but could you put them in cold in the mixture?
No.
No.
Because that will ruin the whole Torrone. Because if I put them cold in the mixer, with the temperature of the Torrone will be will cool down.
Okay.
And it will not come out right.
So they have to be hot, so
Yes.
it doesn't bring down
The temperature
of that egg white mixture that this is going to be mixed with. So how many nuts do we need?
40 pounds.
Okay, 40 pounds of almonds.
And we got 20 pounds of honey and 20 pounds of sugar.
Okay. 40 pounds of almonds to go into the batch of nougat that we have in our mixer. So this is the last one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now you were saying earlier that it's really important that the nuts go in as soon as possible. So we have to run to get this into the mixer.
We got to go upstairs right away.
Okay. Well, wait. Okay, let's go. Wow. And then you're going to scrape all the rest of that out. And that's very hot, so you really have to be careful. Do you never wear gloves when you do this?
No.
Your hands now are conditioned because you've made it so much.
Actually, we're going to start all the way down here, Mary Ann. Okay, now your job is
to pound this down.
to pound it down so it molds.
So it's nice and even. I don't want to fail Torrone 101. There. Actually, this is a lot of fun, this part. Make sure you wear your old clothes for this. Okay, now, do I put rice paper on top now? Or
No, not yet, Mary Ann. We're going to put it all down. See how you got one side higher than the other side?
Oh.
What you want to do, you want to work that piece of wood so everything is nice and even. And the more you slop it down, the nugget comes up.
Okay. Boy, he's a real stickler for this. It's got to be absolutely even. There, how's that look?
That looks perfect.
Is that better? Okay. All right, I'm going to cover these with my potato starch paper. I need 2 more here. All right, now you're going to
We're going to put some parchment paper over to hold the paper down.
Okay.
Because we don't want covers to get stuck to the paper.
And now you put some weights on these. All right, we've got this. And this was quite a job, Horacio. So,
Yeah,
so this is going to sit for a while.
Yes. They're gonna sit for about a week.
All right, what's next?
We're gonna do the dark Torrone.
Dark Torrone. I can hardly wait. This ought to be good. Okay.
This has to be done quick, otherwise it's gonna hang up.
This is something called dark Torrone, and you see the sugar and almond mixture has been cooked until it's this nice caramel color, and now Horacio spreads it out onto more of the potato starch paper, and I think that's probably why here at Scialo Brothers it's called dark Torrone.
Dark
right?
Torrone.
I would call it croccante, which this is something that is made in Italy for fairs. When you go to a carnival, you see this is kind of a carnival food. And it's like a peanut brittle in a sense, if you will, because you're going to let this get hard.
Exactly.
And then you're going to dump this out, correct?
Yes.
And then
we're gonna
he'll be
slice
able, you're going to cut it up in random pieces, correct?
Exactly.
And that's where the word comes from. Croccante means, cracklings, broken pieces. And you could use almonds for this, and other parts of Italy, they use sesame seeds in
Yes, they can use the hazelnuts,
Sicily,
pistachios.
pistachio nuts, a combination of nuts. And you did toast these nuts too for
No,
the
these
croccante?
cook
No.
inside the sugar.
All right, so
These are raw nuts,
these
you
went
put them in.
raw into and you're spreading it all, so it's nice and even. It looks great. It looks great.
We're gonna wait a few minutes till it cools down.
Okay, now I'm really anxious for the Torrone cut. Okay.
This one I made about a week ago.
Can I help you get that out? Okay.
And if you see it,
Now you
that's
see why you
it's like a block, like a block of cement.
beautiful.
You take all the parchment paper out.
It's like unwrapping a present. Okay. Do
And-
we have it all off? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this, we just go like that. And I will run the knife just to call
To take off the excess.
exactly.
I'm learning lots of little tricks here today.
Okay. Now, this is hard. I got to cut it with a hammer.
Of course. Let's see what that looks like. Look at how beautiful. All those wonderful almonds. When you think about it, and that is really hefty.
Yes.
That is heavy. So you really
That's
only
about a pound
yes,
right there.
and you eat that in just little slivers with a nice glass of Vin Santo or something.
That sounds real good. I'm gonna go home and try that.
Yes, and then
And this is our finished product.
it looks gorgeous. Look at that, how beautiful. And you see the paper on the top and the bottom, all edible, makes a beautiful gift. Well, Horacio, I learned an awful lot today, and I think our home audience did too, about how to make Torrone and croccante. So
Yes.
I want to say grazie a lei. And until I see you nella cucina again, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
And this is Horacio Garcia.
Ciao.
Ciao.